Okay, so we're starting. It's still in shomer, but it's a whole new. It's a new sugya in shomer. Until now, we were talking about the obligation of the shomer to watch, and if he's posheya, if he's not posheya, he's negligent, etc. We're starting now, which is a whole other siman. It's Reish Tzadi Beis, and it's the second half of Hamafkid, which I don't know if you have a 7th grade son. Maybe you learned it recently after Pesach. That, they got up to this part, or 8th grade son, whatever. So it's the sugi of shlichus yad. Shlichus yad is that there's a fascinating gra. This is in Shulchan Aruch. It says in Shulchan Aruch, Asur l'shloyach yad. You're not allowed to do shlichus yad in a pikadon. What shlichus yad means? Shlichus yad means that you're not allowed to use it, and we'll see what that means exactly. You're not allowed to use the item that you were watching. Someone gave it to you as a shomer. You're not allowed to use the item. So on that line in the Shulchan Aruch, the gra says, what's the makar? The gra's always bringing the makar. He says, Mefurish b'Torah. I don't need to bring a makar. It's Mefurish in the Torah. You're not allowed to use an item which was given to you by someone else to watch. You're not allowed to use it for yourself. What does the pasuk say? It says, Ki yitein isha re'eu kesef kelim lishmor v'guna mi beis ish im yimotzi aganav yishalim shnayim v'im lo yimotzi aganav, then you could get potter. What? Im lo sholach yodoi b'melachas re'eu, if you did not do shlichus yad. So basically open in the pasuk that you have to make a shvua that you did not use it. Now, one could ask a question. Stamazoi, what does that have to do with shomer? Stamazoi, I'm not allowed to use other people's stuff. Believe it or not, there's a halacha that if you use someone else's item, you're a ganiv. Or a gazlan, actually. If you use someone else's thing, shaloi bershos, you're a gazlan. That's called a shoyl shalomidas gazlan. And that idea of using someone's item is true, whether that item is going to get damaged because you used it, whether it's going to lose value because you used it, or even if it doesn't lose value. Let's say you're passing someone's front lawn, and they have a folding chair sitting there. Are you allowed to go and sit on their chair? The chair's not going to go down in value because you sat in it, and nothing's going to happen to the chair, and you're not even doing a mashicha on the chair. So it's not yours. L'maisa, you're using it. Kipshutai, by using someone's item, you become a gazlan on it. You become a gazlan on the item. Ad k'dei kach that you're mechuyev b'hashava. You have to give it back. So let's say you use it, you take it from their property, and you put it on the sidewalk. And then you sit down on it. And then you walk away. And then someone steals it off the sidewalk. You're chayiv to the owner. Because you became a gazlan and you never returned it. You're the gazlan, another guy stole it from you, but you're the gazlan. And you never returned it to him, because in order to return it to him, you need to make a proper hashava. So that's the concept of a shalosh shlomidas. So then we have to get into all these different things. There's something called the shalosh shlomidas. There's something called the gazlan, and then there's something called this parsha of shlichus yad. Shlichus yad is when you're a shomer on someone's thing and you started using it shaloi kedin, and now you also become a gazlan. So there's these 3 types of gzela, which hopefully by the end of today we get some clarity. What are these 3 types of gzela? There's a long bir agra being masbir a machloikes between Rashi and the Tur. Between what are these 3 categories? Okay, so that's going to be today's shir. We're going to try to figure out what are these 3 categories of gzela. Okay, so It starts from a Mishnah on Daf Mem Amud Beis in Bava Metzia. So you should all have the packets. So we have to go through this Gemara carefully. All right? We're holding by going through a Gemara a little bit today. We got to go through this Gemara. Mishnah says like this on Mem Amud Beis. It says Hamafkid Chavis Eitzel Chaveroi. Okay, we had this before. You were mafkid a chavis to your friend. V'lo yichdu lo bailam makom. And the Reisha is talking that the bailim did not tell you a specific place to put it. Okay, so here, take my chavis, watch it in your house. I don't care where. V'tiltala, and you moved it. V'nishtabra, and you broke it. So the first case says imitoich yadei nishbra. If it broke while you were moving it, because you decided to move it litzarkai, you had a reason you wanted to move it for yourself, not for the benefit of the chavis. You were going to use it, you were going to do something, whatever it is, but you moved it around, chayiv. Litzarka pater. If you were doing it because it was in a bad spot and it wasn't going to get watched properly, it was in the sun, you got to move it, then you're pater. Then even if you took it for yourself, so the Reisha of the Mishnah says, you take something for yourself, you're watching it, you take it for your own benefit, you're chayiv, but once you put it back, you're pater. So it sounds like, once you put it back, you're back to being a shomer. You're a temporary, like ganev, you took it, but then you put it back. So let's take an example. A guy left you his raincoat. Not like the cases that we had till now. That a guy left you his umbrella. Okay, let's give a practical case. Let's give a practical case. This happened. A guy had this like nice umbrella, whatever, and he left it here in the koil. So he calls me up. He says, "Look, I'm going to be back. I went back to New York already. I don't want to lose that umbrella. Do you mind? It's going to be in the lobby. The koil, Rosh Chodesh is going to come. It's going to become hefker, and I don't want it to become hefker. Do you mind taking it out of the lobby and taking it to your house?" Okay, fine. So I have this guy's umbrella in my house now, and then it starts raining. Now I want to use the umbrella. It's a taki gishmak umbrella. That's why the guy doesn't want to lose it, right? So I want to use the umbrella. Why? Because I left my umbrella in a different shul. So I don't have mine, so I may as well use his, right? So can I use his umbrella? So the answer is you can't use it. But let's say I used it. So if I used it, and while I am outside, the wind comes or whatever, I'm chayiv. But if I use it, and l'maisa nothing happened to it, and then I put it back home, since I returned it back, now I'm pater and I'm back to being a shomer chinam. Okay? That's the case of the Gemara, of the Mishnah. What's the seif of the Mishnah? The seif of the Mishnah says, Yichdu lo yabay l'makom. If the owner was miyach at a specific place, it says, okay, by the way, when you take it to your house, I really want it in that back left corner of your playroom, and that seems to me a very good safe spot. Do you mind putting it over there? So then the Mishnah basically says, even once you put it back, you're chayiv. So the Gemara doesn't understand what is the chiluk between the Reisha and the Seifa. One case, you're chayiv. One case, you're pater. What's the difference? So the Gemara says basically that we're going like Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael holds that if you're a ganev, if you steal something, let's say I go into your house, I steal your leichter. Your wife set up the leichter. Once your Shabbos, no one's home. It's still there. I come in and I steal it. So next Friday, I'm thinking to myself, oh man, they're going to realize and they're going to be all upset. And I stole it. I don't feel good about this. No one's home. I come back on Friday. I put it back. But I didn't tell anybody about it. And my mikayim, the mitzvah hashava of the gzela, if I didn't tell him about it. So you have to have das bailim or you don't have to have das bailim. This is a machlokes between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara says that it's very hard to understand this Mishnah. Who are we going like? We're going like Rabbi Shmuel, or we're going like Rabbi Akiva. Because if you're going like Rabbi Akiva, so then putting it back doesn't help. If you're going like Rabbi Shmuel, putting it back should help. What's the difference between the Reisha and the Seifa? Okay, so basically, now let's go to Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, and the Gemara says the following. Rabbi Yochanan, to the point that Rabbi Yochanan asked, it's on page 17. Rabbi Yochanan asked a question. Rabbi Yochanan says, anybody that can solve this Mishnah, I will personally take their towel for them to the bathhouse while they wash. Meaning, I'll be their servant for a day. So Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol man de metargem lechavis aliba dechad tana mavilu leimana debei masusa. Fine. So the Gemara says Tirguma. It's right across from the Tosfos which says Uba Zev. Across from that Tosfos, it's on Memal Vomit Aleph. So we have three answers to the case. Now let me just say it outside, because this is really the yisoid of the next half hour of the shir, is this Gemara. Okay, so let's just get it clear. So, or whatever, however long. The yisoid is like this. We're going to give three examples of how this guy, by using that umbrella in our case, right, how this guy became a Goslin. Three cases how he became a Goslin. Based on now that we said he's a Goslin, we could make a distinction between the Reish and the Sefer. We could say, the Reish is talking, since the owner didn't tell me where to put it, just said, watch it in your house, and I put it back in my house, I was Makai my Hashava, and I'm not a Goslin anymore. But in the other case, he told me put it in the back left corner, and I took the item, and it became a Goslin, and I brought it to the house, but I didn't put it back into that back left corner, so I didn't return it. I'm still a Goslin. Until I actually put it back in the corner that he originally told me to put it in. Okay? That is the yisoid of the Mishnah. Now we're going to give three examples. How did you become a Goslin on this umbrella? I didn't do anything. The guy left me had this, right? Or the case of the Gemara. The case of the Gemara. He says, here I have a chash of a bottle. I have a chash of a bottle of schnapps. You be my shomer. Okay? So then what I do is, I take it, I have a shomer. This guy is making a thing. I'm going to bring the bottle. I'll tell him, look, no one should drink it. But at least it'll be on the table, it'll look chashuv. Right? So, something like that. So let's see, how did you become a Goslin? So Tirguma Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba Kamei Derav. Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba says, you know how you became a Goslin? Shenot lamanas goizla. Because you took it with the intention to steal it. The case was that when you originally took that umbrella to use it, your intention was, I'm keeping this. That's it. This is such a good umbrella that I cannot resist the temptation of it, and I'm going to keep it. That's it. The guy told me to watch his umbrella for him. It's pouring rain. This is the only umbrella that ever worked, and I'm keeping it. Okay, so then is it a chiddush that he's a Goslin? No chiddush, right? He's a Goslin. He stole it. Obviously, he's a Goslin. It's not much of a chiddush. That's the first answer. Tirguma Rav Nosson bar Abba. Rav Nosson bar Abba says, you know what we're talking about? Shenot la'amanas l'shloach bayad. You took it in order to do what we call shlichus yad. Shlichus yad means that I'm going to do something to it that's going to be mechaseret, that's going to lower it in value. So in the umbrella case, I don't really have such a good example. But let's say in the case of the wine bottle, one case could be I took it on manas to steal it. I said I'm not planning on giving it back at all. The other case is I'm planning on giving it back, but I want to take one l'chaim at the Vart. I'm going to bring it to the l'chaim. I'm going to show my friend, look, this bottle's for you. He's going to be busy. He's not going to realize. I'm going to make a l'chaim with him, and then I'll bring back the bottle. So I'm only planning on stealing 2 ounces. The rest I'm going to put back. And you know what? I'll even be willing to pay the guy for the 2 ounces that I'm stealing. So I'll take the bottle with me to the Vart. I'll pour myself a l'chaim, him a l'chaim. We got 2 ounces there. He's going to be excited. Whatever. By the time he turns around, I'll bring the bottle back. So there, that's called shlichus yad. What's the nuance? The nuance is because since you took the thing, amanas to take some of it out of it, you become a Goslin on all of it. You're a shomer. You're not supposed to be using this thing. The minute you use part of it, even if it's only 2 ounces, you become a ganav on the entire bottle. So the first answer is you're playing out ganav. You planned on taking the bottle and never returning it. The second answer is no, I wasn't going to. I was going to take the bottle. And I was only going to do shlichus yad to the bottle. I was only going to take 2 ounces out of the bottle. Since you're a shomer, now you violated your shmir. You become a ganav on the entire bottle. That would not be true if I was not a shomer. I mean, if I'm not a shomer, I go over to your house randomly and I go to your bottle. I take the bottle, I'm manas to take 2 ounces out. I go take the 2 ounces and I return it. That's it. I never was a ganav on the rest of it. I was only a ganav in the first place. On the first.
If you take it out of my house, you're a ganav from the whole bottle.
Why?
I put it on my table to show that how much
I'm manas to take. You can return it.
That's great, but it's still you burn away. You have no wish to take it out.
Maybe I was over this. I don't become a ganav on the entire bottle.
If I don't take any ounces, I stole the bottle and I returned it. Well, that's good.
No. If you steal something, I'm manas to return it the whole time. I never was planning on making a kinyan on it. I'm not a ganav.
That's not
taking it out of my rishus.
To do what? To hold it for a day?
I take your car, drive it
I'm
around
not to make that.
Whoa,
drive it around it. Whoa, that's no shaykhs to this. Here, I'm not doing anything. I'm taking it and putting it back.
Put it in my garage and bring it back a year later. That's not going to.
What am I doing?
I'm holding on to it. No.
I'm been asked to give it back?
Yeah, I'll give it back to you. It's not going to.
I don't know what it is. Geneva is when you're planning on keeping it away from the person. That's called goiz almanas l'mekat and goiz almanas lahaknit and almanas lahashiv. Which kipshuta is not getting.
$20 years later.
No, and do what with it? What are you going to do with it?
Use them.
No, that's social because that's that we're getting there. Hold on, that's what I'm saying. We're getting there.
Okay, you use the whole bottle.
I don't use any of the bottle.
You did when you brought it and said, "Look at this bottle." If you're using the bottle, what's the light? How am I using the light?
No, I take the bottle. I pour two a thing, and I brought it back. So kipshutai, you're not a ganiv on the entire bottle. You're only a ganiv on the part that you kept for yourself, which is the 2 ounces that you took. But by shlichus yad, it's not like that. If you're a shomer, you violated your shmira because you took the entire thing away from the owner temporarily to be mechaser from it. You're shleach yad on the entire thing, and therefore.
If that's not Geneva, then why is it a lack of shmira then? I'm watching the whole thing. I'm watching the 8 ounces that I'm not taking, or whatever, the 22 ounces I'm actually watching it. I'm carrying it with me, which is the best shmir possible.
Since you're being moishechet away from the owner, you're moishechet in a way that's violating your shmir because you're not supposed to use it at all, and you're taking an amanas to use some of it. That's considered a gzela on the whole thing. That is the chiddush of shlichus yad. And for gzela, you have to keep it away from the owner. You have to be taking it away from the owner. Some people say, yeah.
But if I have the chiyuv of shmir on it, how is it taken away from the owner? Taking it with me is watching it.
No.
When did I take it away from the owner? The only time I took it away from the owner is the 2 ounces that I poured. Everything else, I'm watching it. I'm supposed to be carrying it.
No, he told you to put it in a certain place.
No, he told you to be shomer. You're now saying I'm being moishech l'chavis. I'm being moishech l'chavis. I'm anas to take away 2 ounces.
Moishech l'chavis to take it because I'm going to be out of my house.
Because I need the whole chavis to get the 2 ounces out.
I'm saying if I'm being moishech l'chavis to make sure that it's washed properly, so I'm going to a vart.
Oh, by the way, Tosfos does say, by the way, in general, that in a case where the rest of the bottle helps for the 2 ounces that you want, it could be Geneva. Because you can't have the 2 ounces without the rest of the bottle. But that's a specific type of case. So the shlichus yad is the mashicha al menas l'chasra from the owner. Okay, that's the second answer of the Gemara. That's what we're talking about. The third answer of the Gemara is that I became a gazlan because I took the barrel of wine and I was to the backyard in order to climb on the barrel of wine to go get something off my tree. So what do you say in that case? But I'm going to put it back. But I took it, I took the barrel, I'm asked to take it to my backyard, climb on the barrel, go get something off my tree. Says up to Gemara, at that moment you became a gazlan on the barrel also. Because you became a gazlan based on the mechanics of shoyel shaloi midas gazlan. You use it to your benefit, but it's not shlichus yad because you weren't being machaser in it. You didn't take anything away from it. That's why the leichter case is automatically shoyel shaloi midas because you're using it. So it's not worse than that. So it's definitely shoyel shaloi midas. In most cases, you take a guy's car, you drive it, you shoyel shaloi midas, you're gazlan anyway. So it's not negeya. It's only negeya on something but you're mamish not using it. You're only machaser the 2 ounces. So that's where this case would be negea.
Same situation, but it would have benefited the owner. For example, something was parked outside a big storm, and he moves it. So obviously he moved it, and in that process he may have used it for his benefit as well. But that's also benefit the owner.
Okay, so that's interesting because the Mishnah splits up to two cases. The Mishnah says if you moved it for the benefit of the owner or your potter, if you move it for your own benefit, you're chayiv. You're saying, what about if it's a combined benefit? It's a little bit of a mixed intention. I'm not sure what the din is.
Side benefit, as long as it benefits for the owner, then I'm allowed.
Well, they're not stealing it. The question is, are you tied with the rest of it because you're moving it for a benefit also? Not having a side benefit.
So I hear what you're saying about the bottle. Let's say I take the bottle in order to put it down on the table, and I'm getting covered from the whole bottle, and I'm only mechaser 2 ounces. So my shoshel midas on the whole bottle because what's the difference between that and climbing on it? Whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know about that case, but this is the 3 cases. So now that means that there's a concept of a shoshel midas, which means that I took the umbrella. So in our case, that would mean I took the umbrella to use it. I wasn't planning on stealing it. I wasn't mechas or anything. I'm going to use it one time. So the Gemara says at that moment you became a gazlan. At that moment you became a gazlan. So the obvious question now is, so then what do you need the whole chiddush of shlichus yad if anyway you're always going to be a shoshel midas? Meaning to say, let's say I take the every case of shlichus yad is also going to be shoshel midas, isn't it? Because let's say I take a barrel. Let's say our case of the schnapps. So shoshel midas would be I take it to show it off. Here shlichus yad is I take it to show it off and take out two ounces. So what's the difference between shoshel midas and shlichus yad? What's the whole chiddush of shlichus yad over here? This is a question of Rashi and the Torah. Okay? But basically the point is that you see from this thing that there are 3 separate categories, and this we'll get to. And how do you become a gazlan on something? How do you become a gazlan on a chayfetz that you're watching? One possibility is you took it away from the owner to keep, which by the way, okay, you took it away from the owner to keep. The other case is that you took it in order to use a little bit of it and put it back. And the third case is that you're a shoshel midas and you took it to use it. So our question is, the first and the last case, that's regular gezela, basically. You took it to keep it or took it to use it. Oh, there's a new thing of shlichus midah, of shlichus yad, that you took it in order to take away 2 ounces. Who cares? You also took away the whole barrel to use it, basically. So I want to show you in the Shulchan Aruch how he explains this, okay? And this is very important because, like you're saying, every time if someone asks me to watch to use, hey, watch my jewelry, am I allowed to use it in the meanwhile? Right? And what happens if I do? And how do I get out of this problem?
I never accept shmir on anything ever.
What?
I never accept shmir on anything
Right. This is another place where you got to be careful.
Many times it can be really beneficial. Watch my car, I'm going at a compromise, use it. While using it, that's right. You're saying, well,
I know you're a shoyel or you're a shomer sacher maybe, right? Basically, don't become a shomer chinam. That's for sure. It doesn't help you in life.
Shol would be worse, right?
Yeah. So look at page 44. Okay, Shulchan Aruch explains this very clearly. What the 3 categories are. Okay, it's very geschmack the way he puts it down. Page 44 in the booklet. It's Reish Tzadi Beis Sif Aleph. He says like the following: Eina nifkad rashai lishloach yad b'pikadon. You are not permitted to use something which is not yours. Someone gave you something to watch. You're not permitted to use it. V'im shalach boyad, and if you did use it, einay mechaven legoizloi, and you're not mechaven to steal. So what does it mean? Oh, I'm planning on using it, but I'm not stealing. What do you mean? Meaning I'm not keeping it. I'm not going to keep it. I'm not planning to keep it. I'm planning on giving it back to the owner. Elo leheshtamish boi. So I was just going to use it. Top of page 45. Come lay bershusei. It becomes your item. V'chayev b'oinsim. And you're chayev in oinsim. Afal pi she'adayin lo nishtamish boi. Here's the main line. even if I never planned on, even if I didn't end up using it, but the planning to use it itself is the Mashiach makes me a Shaleach Yad. The Shlichus Yad ain't a Tzricha Chorisaran, because we paskin, Shlichus Yad doesn't need to actually be Machaser it only needs that you took it, Rak, Shiyak Bi'ehena, you have to pick it up, Kedei Leheshtamish Ba, in order to use it, B'tashmish Shemechasroi, in a use that will be Machaser it. So Shlichus Yad means, I picked it up with the intention to take away from the owner a little bit. Case of the bottle, I take it with the intention to take away 2 ounces from the owner. Now, even before I took away the 2 ounces, I go to the guy's Vart. I'm on the way to the Vart with the bottle. Before I took the 2 ounces, all of a sudden, some crazy accident, some guy hits me, bottle goes flying, and it breaks. Do I have to pay him for it? It's an oinus, not my fault.
Yeah, but you took it.
Because I took it and with the intention to use 2 ounces of it. Okay. Oz chayev ki'ilu chasroi. Aval, however, now look at the next case. We're going to change the nuance and it's going to change the halacha. Im higbiya ilasis by tashma sheina machasroi. What if I picked it up with the intention to do something that would not take away anything from the owner? So you know what I'm going to do at this Vart? I'm going to take the bottle with me to the Vart. I'm going to put it on the table. It's going to remain sealed. No one's going to use it. It's going to make the owner, the Baal Simcha, feel really good. I was like, oh, nice bottle, nice bottle. No one actually wants to open it. After the Vart, I come home and bring it back. But I'm not going to open the bottle. What do you say in that case?
He's a goslin from the time he took it.
Says the Shulchan Aruch, Einoi chayiv mishas hagbah. I'm not chayiv, ela mishas tashmish, only from the time I used it. So that means that, let's say, maybe, in our case, I put it in my car, on the way there, the guy hits me and the bottle goes flying, I'm not chayiv yet. I'm only chayiv once I go put it down on the table and used it for that use. But the actual taking is not gzela yet until you actually use it. So this is it's very fine nuance. I don't know if anyone hears this nuance. It's a very interesting nuance. If you're planning on stealing even a little bit from the owner, you become a goslin from the time that you took it on all of it. Because you were planning on taking this part of this away from the owner. So now you're ganav on the whole thing. But in a case where I wasn't planning on, I was going to return the whole thing to the owner. I just took it to use it temporarily. So in that case, once I use it, I'm a ganav. But just the taking to use doesn't make me a ganav. V'loy mishum shlichus yad, she'eina shaleach bayad. It's not called shlichus yad, kivet she'eina mechasrei. Elam pnei shosh lo midas, tahavik kegazlan. Okay? So, that's the nuance here. So let's take the example of the, what?
There's enough for me whether it's Shemukim versus Shemukim
No.
in the last case?
No enough for me now.
So I take the bottle with me and I didn't have machshava to diminish it, but just taking it.
Right.
I guess the nafkamina would be if he said, leave it in your house. So the moment I take it out of my house, I'm not following and I'm showing sachar.
But still, insim happened. So it's not, I don't think it's tchels for Pshia of Sefer Bainis. Not Pshia. I put it in my car or whatever. So let's take the case of the umbrella. So I take the umbrella, I put it in my car, and then I get out of my car and I start using the umbrella and the wind comes and whatever. So I'm chayiv. Now what I was planning on doing really was using the umbrella once and putting it back. So I'm really a shol shlamidas. I'm not a shaleach yad. So if I'm shol shlamidas, then I left it in my car and something happened to it. I'm potter still because I never actually used it yet. So that's the klal. Any time that you're planning, the only avera that you're doing is the actual using it. If the only thing that you're doing wrong is the actual using of it, then you're not a gazan until you use it. But if you're actually planning on stealing some of it, then you're gazan from the time that you started the process. This is the tourist pshat. Okay, it's interesting. So this could be practical cases, right? You're a shomer on someone's jewelry. So most of the times you're not going to be shaleach yad. You're just going to be called shol shlomidas. So then you're only chayiv once you actually started using it. Okay? Now, are you now chayv and oinsim forever? Or is there a way to get out of this? So let's look at the next halacha. Haga v'mechazir l'makom shenot lo misham chazal liyaz dina kishomer hoyav l'havel av mitchila rak shoyel ba'alma. Since, even though you're a gazlan, but since you're a shoyel shalmidah, it's a complicated halacha. But basically, the way to get out of this is hechazir l'makom shenot lo misham. You have to put it back to the place that you took it. Once you put it back, it seems like the Shulchan Aruch is exempting you of any sort of what's it called? Of any sort of shmir, because you're back to your regular shomer. You're not a gazlan anymore. But being a gazlan makes you chayv and oinsim, and these are the three ways to be gazlan. That's what I wanted to cover today. What I wanted to cover today was these three ways to become a gazlan on someone else's thing. One is you took it to keep it. That's a simple case. One is you took it to use it. But if you're taking it to use it, you're only chayv once you use it, not chayv for the taking. And then there's this middle case where I took it to be mechaser a little bit. Then also there's a chiddush of shlichus yad that I consider a gazan on the whole thing.
As soon as you pick it up.
As soon as you pick it up, right? This is the way the tour ends up learning this whole sugya. It's a little complicated, I agree, but that's the way the tour learns the sugya. Next Sunday is Erev Shavuos, right? So we'll learn, but maybe we'll learn maybe a little bit of different Indian, maybe a Shavuos Indian or something. What? Cheesecake? If you make a cheesecake, then we'll, But then we'll talk. And the other one's invited to come Wednesday night. Our Siyam and Mitzvah Shem. We're making a Siyam on the whole Koil is making a Siyam on Erev. So everyone's welcome to come. It's out in Aventura. Tishkach. Stop this.
Making the see him here in the middle.
No.
Oh, you do lunch now.